Okay, so a TV show that is a lot less mature, is that the right word?
It
Than the
is.
ones that we've just spoken about is the challenge Battle of the Bloodlines. And
Oh, yes.
I gave up on MTV a long time ago. I don't watch those 16 princessy shows. I don't watch the 16 and pregnant shows. I don't watch True Life. I don't really watch I don't watch anything except the challenges. I don't even watch Real World anymore. I've watched maybe a couple of Real Worlds in like the last 10 years, only because I need to know who some of these new people are on the challenges. But I'm an old school. Like I loved the road rules. So like the challenges are really that's what replaced the road rules. And it's hard because there's some people on it that you're like, oh my gosh, like stop being on MTV, which a couple of them have, like Eric Nies and Mark, like they finally stopped because they're like way too old.
Yeah.
Although they're both buff as shit and probably can still win a challenge. But there are a few people on this new season that I'm still psyched about. I still love me some Johnny Bananas, and he's on with his cousin. Camilla can still be entertaining. She's on with her sister. Anissa is on still with her sister, or cousin, I mean. Cara
Anissa, are you
Maria,
serious?
yeah, Cara Maria's on with her cousin. There's a bunch of people I don't know because now they include the You're the One That I Want show, which I guess is because they were like running out of people on the real world. I mean, there's some others like that I've heard of before, like Nani is still on, and then there's some from the newer seasons of Real World that I actually watched. As I said, I watched a few, but I already mentioned the few that I really care about, and really it's Johnny Bananas. I mean, if you put Johnny Bananas and Wes on, I will keep watching, which is so sad.
Us is the blonde one? No.
Yeah, it's from Austin.
Yeah, I remember.
Uh,
So, have the siblings or any of these family members appeared on these shows before?
no, there's one person like Anissa, blah blah, but then they are bringing a sibling or a cousin with them.
Okay. So, I have something to tell you. This is not original what they've done. Is this the first time they've done it?
Yeah.
Okay. So, they did that on The Bachelor. I think that
Oh.
MTV has ripped it right off there. So the Bachelor's version of having the challenges, we have the Bachelor, we have the Bachelorette, and then how can we put those groups together because there's a whole big like Bachelor Nation where they're all hooking up and marrying and having babies, and so they created Bachelor Pad and then now Bachelor in Paradise. There's no plot to the show, but I think they ran out of people potentially, or they just wanted a twist on it. So they had this girl who was like a Kardashian knockoff, Ashley the Virgin. That was her like name, and she brought her sister, and her sister was like the anti-Ashley the Virgin. And they were on for like several episodes, and it was like this whole thing, like, why is she here? She wasn't even on it, so people were not even accepting of her, but then she was funny, and they dragged it out for about half of the season, and then she willingly left. Now, I'm sure that was planned all along, but my point is that is not new what they're doing, and it was awkward. When I watched it on Bachelor in Paradise, it will be awkward for you because you're like, I haven't invested in these people, why am I watching them?
No, I think it will be awkward because even in the preview, I watched the preview special on the plane last week, and like they get into these like pretty obnoxious fights because as if they don't get into the most obnoxious fights anyway on these MTV shows, you can get into a fight with your sibling that is like ridiculously like
Yeah,
no one should ever see because you will say the meanest things, you will hit them, you
yeah,
will rip their hair out because they're your sibling and you can get away with it. So I already know. So between that, the two of you fighting together, then bring in like say two sisters that are volatile in itself, and then a
yeah.
guy gets involved, and then the sisters fight the guy together. It's going to be a nightmare. And I just remember that in the special, in the preview for the rest of the season, they end up bringing in another set of family members, whether they're replacing someone, which could very well happen, or they're adding another, and it's CT and someone that he's related to, and that's like one of the most volatile. Although I will say that I'm excited to see CT back because CT has been kind of out of the spotlight. Even he wasn't on Instagram for like a year after DM died. So I'm happy to see CT back and getting involved and living his life because I'm a huge CT and DM actually together fans. And I recently watched that We Heart DM special again, which was like, why would anyone do that to themselves and watch it twice? Because it's like the most painful thing ever. But will say though, I cannot watch MTV Live. I either watch it on demand or on DVR because the commercials on MTV are pretty much the worst thing ever in the world.
Really? Well, see, us that you even still acknowledge that those exist. Because I feel like, don't we just fast forward past those? I'm impressed you watch anything live.